Now let's take a look at this figure 7-3, and it basically shows a Y-connected transformer, and it's 122.8 volt. And notice XO here, where you see the 120 volt windings connected to the XO right in the center of the Y. That's a neutral point, defined in Article 100 as the neutral point. And then notice the neutral's routed on out and connected as needed. But notice 120 volt from any phase, or L1, L2, or L3 to ground, you get 120 volt. But we get 208 volt from phase to phase, or L1 to L3, L1 to L2, L2 to L3, any arrangement you want to go from ungrounded leg to ungrounded leg, you get 208 volts. But now, it used to be a color coding in the code until the 1975 edition was published, and then color coding was dropped, as you see in the recommended color coding. So a lot of companies still will take 122.8 volt, make it black, red, blue, and use a white neutral. You could use white or gray, but white is usually always used. And then, of course, you know that's for your phases A, B, and C, or L1, L2, and L3. Usually, you know, your phase A, B, and C is where you connect L1 and L2 to the transformer and type identification, depending on how you want to identify it. And then 277-480 was the boy system. Brown, orange, yellow, and it was always a gray. Never a white, it was always a gray. And again, phases A, B, and C, L1 and L2 connected to those to the windings. And basically that was our color coding scheme. But now today, you could have all black wires, as you see, L1, L2, and L3, and you could just have a white neutral, and that would indicate it 122.8. You could have all black conductors and have a gray neutral, and that indicated it was 277-480. So there's no color coding system at all for the ungrounded phase conductors, or the electrician calls them the hot conductors, L1, L2, and L3. But there is a color coding scheme now for the neutral. It has to be white or gray, or white with one or more yellow stripes that are not, you know, green, yellow, and so forth. As indicated in 200.6, and you know, for insulation and identification and color coding, you would go to 310.6 and 310.10, which would refer you to 200.6 for neutral, 250.119 for the equipment ground, and then 310.12c for the ungrounded conductors, or 215.12c for feeders. So we kind of picked that up, but this is a Y-connected transformer, and the recommended color coding or color coded is by the sections just mentioned to you. And that's what this figure 7-3 is illustrating to the user of the NEC.